Jordan Anthony. He spent 4 years catching passes as a wide receiver at 3 SEC schools. He walked away from football, stepped onto a track, and hunted down the Olympic champion. Then he flew overseas for the very first time in his life to race for a world title with an injury nobody knew about. Jordan Anthony grew up fast enough to earn a college football scholarship. He was a wide receiver with genuine SEC-level speed, which is not something most players can say. But his career at the college level never matched the talent underneath it. He played 2 games as a freshman at the University of Kentucky. He transferred to Texas A&M and played 4 more. He transferred again, this time to Arkansas, where things finally clicked at least a little. 8 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown in the 2024 season. 3 schools, 4 years. The results never matched what he could do. The Southeastern Conference is the most competitive college football league in the country. Receivers who get meaningful playing time in the SEC are almost always NFL prospects. Anthony had the physical tools, he had the speed, but opportunity in college football is not handed out just because you are talented. Depth charts are long, coaches change, schemes shift. Players who might be stars somewhere else spend entire seasons on the sideline waiting for a chance that never quite opens up. At some point, Anthony did the math. Football had given him opportunities, but it had also given him blockers, rosters, and a rotation he could not fully control. Every transfer reset the clock. Every new system meant new learning. The sport demanded he depend on other people, and other people kept slowing him down. So he made a decision. He walked away from football entirely and went all in on track and field. When asked why, he did not hesitate. He laid it out plainly. In football, defenders are running at you to hit you. In track, nobody is. If he goes out and loses, that is on him. If he wins, that is his work. No offensive line, no coordinator, no scheme. Just him, and whoever lines up next to him in the blocks. That thinking belongs to a man who had already made peace with the switch before he announced it. He was not walking away from football in despair. He was walking toward track with a clear plan. And in 2025, that plan started to pay off immediately. Anthony's first full year on the track was not a slow rebuild. He lowered his personal best in the 100 meters to 9.95 seconds. He ran the 200 meters in 19.93 seconds. In a single season, he had run times that most sprinters spend years chasing. Those performances earned him an Adidas sponsorship deal and a relocation to Claremont, Florida, to train under coach Lance Brauman. Brauman's program is not just any training group. His most decorated athlete is Noah Lyles, the reigning Olympic 100-meter champion, 4-time world champion in the 200 meters, and the loudest personality in American sprinting. Anthony was now training every day beside the man considered the face of the entire sport. What that environment does to a developing sprinter is hard to overstate. You learn by watching. You push harder because the standard inside your own training group is already world-class. You stop wondering whether you belong at the top level because the top level is your daily routine. Every session beside a man like Lyles raises the floor. Anthony was not just getting faster. He was learning how champions train, how they compete, and how they carry themselves when everything is on the line. By February 13, 2026, at the Tyson Invitational in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Anthony clocked 6.43 seconds in the 60 meters. That time led the world for 2026. It placed him among the 10 fastest 60-meter sprinters ever recorded at that distance. 3 weeks later, his training partner would be standing in the same final. March 1st, 2026, Ocean Breeze Athletic Complex, Staten Island, New York. The men's 60-meter final at the USATF Indoor Championships. Trayvon Brommel had entered the competition as a credible threat. He was a former world indoor champion with the kind of past that demands respect. Noah Lyles was in the blocks beside him, the reigning Olympic champion, the man whose training sessions Anthony had been sharing for months. When the gun fired, Anthony left the blocks without hesitation. He drove through the first half of the race with the kind of composure that does not belong to someone still figuring things out. Brommel stayed close. Lyles responded. But in the final meters, Anthony did not let up. He crossed them a line in 6.45 seconds. Brommel finished second in 6.47. Lyles, the man who had set the standard for American sprinting for years, crossed third in 6.51. Then something happened after the race that made the moment historic before the sport had even processed the result. Lyles walked over to Anthony and personally handed him his championship belt. That gesture meant something. It was a recognition from the King of American sprinting that the room had changed. The torch had moved. In 20 years of track and field history, that kind of moment is rare. A reigning Olympic champion does not hand a young sprinter his belt out of politeness. He does it when he has seen something that tells him the shift is real. Anthony was not shy about what the night meant. He told reporters he had looked left and right in the final meters and not seen Lyles or Brommel anywhere near him. He said it was over. GG's in the chat. The new generation is taking over. He called it an eviction notice and told the veterans to find a new hobby. Bold words from a 21-year-old. But he had just beaten the Olympic champion to back them up. What nobody knew yet was that the national title was only part of the story. He had qualified for something bigger, and getting there would test him in a way no race ever had. The 2026 World Athletics Indoor Championships took place in Torun, Poland. For Jordan Anthony, traveling to Poland meant something beyond competition. Every race he ran on that track would be his first ever race outside the United States. He had never competed internationally. He had no experience racing in a foreign country, in a foreign arena, in front of a crowd that did not know his name yet. He arrived carrying the fastest 60-meter time in the world for 2026. The target was on him before he even checked into the hotel. Every coach in that building had watched his performance in Staten Island. The field knew what he could do. He was no longer sneaking up on anyone. Then the injury happened. Before the final, Anthony went through the mandatory doping control process that every athlete at a world championship must complete. Something went wrong during the blood draw. The sample collection did not go cleanly. A blood clot formed in his arm. Anthony described the swelling as roughly the size of a soccer ball. The damage left him unable to fully twist or extend his arm. Think about what that means inside a 60-meter sprint. Every phase of the race depends on mechanics. Your drive phase off the blocks, your arms swing through acceleration, the coordination between your upper and lower body through the finish line. Anthony could not move his arm correctly. The injury was not minor. Most athletes in that situation would withdraw, protect themselves, and come back healthy. There is no shame in that. You do not risk long-term damage for a single race, even a world championship final. Anthony did not see it that way. The final featured Keishane Thompson of Jamaica, one of the fastest sprinters in the world across 2024, a man who had run 9.77 seconds in the 100 meters. Trayvon Brommel was there again, proving his performance in Staten Island was no fluke. The field was not going to give Anthony anything. Anthony won in 6.41 seconds. Thompson took silver. Brommel crossed third. World champion. With a blood clot in his arm, in his first race on foreign soil, Jordan Anthony entered 2026 as a former SEC wide receiver with zero international experience. In one indoor season, he bypassed the traditional years of progression, beating the Olympic champion at nationals before flying overseas for the first time. On the track in Poland, despite a hidden injury, he did what seemed impossible. He won the world title.